My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. Today we have the memorial of the Passion of Saint John the Baptist. The Alleluia verse for the Gospel says, "Blessed are those who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And the Gospel goes on in its first verses. Herod was the one who had John the Baptist arrested and bound in prison for an account of Herodias, the wife of his brother Philip, whom he had married. John had said to Herod, "It is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife." Herodias harbored a grudge against him and wanted to kill him, but was unable to do so. Herod feared John, knowing him to be a righteous and holy man, and kept him in custody. There is a lot of relevance today, especially for young Catholics. More than appears, St. John the Baptist's death was not simply, a tragic event. He died because he would not stop telling the truth, even when the truth was inconvenient, unpopular, and dangerous. And Lord, isn't that a lot what goes on today? Such pressure, such pressure. It is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife. For this, John imprisoned and ultimately beheaded. Herod Antipas, after divorcing his wife, married the wife of his brother Philip, her name Herodias. He was technically a practicing Jew and a civil ruler of the Jews of Galilee and Perea. Certainly his living with his brother's wife was adultery, and on top of it, that Herodias was actually his niece. And John stood out, spoke the truth, and paid a strong price. Jesus, you want me to be a lover of you, but what else are you calling me to? There is the story of a chaplain of a young school who came in one day to the oratory, the small chapel of the school, and there noticed a young student was there in the pew eating a sandwich, and he called the young one out and said, "Look," corrected him, saying, "Look, this is a chapel, an oratory. You shouldn't be eating in here. Jesus, your friend, is here for you, to speak with you, to listen to you. But go outside with your friends out there and have your lunch with them." So the boy trotted out there. But a week later, walking into the oratory, the chaplain saw once again the same young student there, eating away in a sandwich there in the pew. And he called him out again. "Let's get out of the oratory," spoke with him, saying, "Look, I thought we went over this. Jesus, your friend, is here to speak with you. But when it's time to eat, go out to the playground with your friends and eat there. What don't you understand about that?" And the young one confessed very sheepishly, "Well, you see, Jesus is my only friend who doesn't ask for the other half of my sandwich." Well, got a point there. Lord, in the friendship you ask of us, the love affair with us, you ask us to look to St. John and understand a lot of things then with grace we can do, that we can give, that we can share. Your grace, Jesus, will help all of us, especially young people who experience tremendous pressure, to accept what everyone else accepts, to laugh at things that they know are wrong, to enter sexual relationships because everybody's doing it, to hide their Catholic faith so as not to appear strange, to remain silent when someone attacks the truth. Jesus, you sent John the Baptist to be a sign for us. Truth does not become false when it's unpopular. Let's think about something now. Herod was powerful. John was a prisoner. Yet in the very decisive way, John was the free man, and Herod was the slave of his passions, his image, his fear of what others would think, and finally his own foolish promise. Do we see who is really free here? Is it the person who does whatever he feels like doing, or the person who is capable of doing what is right, even when it costs him something? John truly was physically imprisoned, but spiritually free. I might say to you, Jesus, I have so many fears to give, too. And John's example, Lord, help me to see it. I do want to be going at the small martyrdoms that you ask of me. You give me grace to see them. The martyrdom of being left out, of being laughed at, of losing popularity, being called judgmental, refusing to cheat, refusing pornography in all its ads, movies, cultural expectations, bad humor and jokes, refusing sexual activity outside of marriage, defending someone who is being ridiculed, admitting, yes, I'm Catholic, and I believe this. These are not trivial things, but truly small acts of courage prepare us for greater ones. But am I making myself a martyr? Am I standing out being righteous, being the one who spouts holy water? Well, St. John the Baptist teaches us that love and the truth, they belong together. Some people might think that saying, that's wrong, is automatically unloving. John's life says otherwise. He didn't speak against Herod because he hated him. He spoke against Herod because a prophet cannot watch while someone destroys himself and pretends that everything is fine. There's a false idea out there, can't we see it? That love means I affirm whatever you choose. I will never challenge you. But if I really have a friend and I really love him, and Jesus, give me that grace, that courage, that as a good friend I will help another person away from the cliff that they're walking toward, and I will not give in to the fear of having an uncomfortable conversation. John was not brash. He was clear, but he was humble. What was his attitude toward you, Lord? He must increase, I must decrease. That is the key. We defend the truth not to prove we're better than other people, but because we love God and want the good of other people. So, Jesus, help me to ask myself, am I a genuine friend? Oh, and I do want to be so, a friend of yours. And so I need to pray and ask a lot, for courage in the small things, everyday things, to build in love of you and love of others, that strength, that virtue, wherein I will be one who can say the truth in all its need. Herod's life, certainly not one to be emulated. How did it get there? I'm sure it came through a lot of little examples of compromises with the truth. Did Herod know that he was doing something wrong? He certainly did. But he didn't change. Certainly we too can listen to good sermons, admire saints, go to church, and still refuse to make the one change God is asking. In your presence, Lord, is there something I already know that you are asking me to change, but I keep putting it off? A very clear part of Herod's downfall and morally here is how he was concerned about what other people thought of him. He did not really want John killed, but he had made a foolish promise, and his guests were watching. He could not bear the humiliation of backing down. How many bad decisions are made for exactly that reason? Jesus, help me to examine my thoughts, my conscience. What will my friends think? I don't want to look stupid. I already said I would do it. Everybody's expecting me to go along with it. I too am caught in these situations. But John cared more about being right before you, Lord, than about appearing successful before men. Do I live according to reality or according to the image I want other people to have of me? Jesus, help me with this. Help me with this a lot. Help me to find time and place for the prayer, the conversation of love that would bring me to have the strength to do the right thing. For truly it is love of you, And in that phrase again that St. John told you, he must increase, I must decrease, that's quite something. If I make my time of prayer, the world will say, make yourself known, build your image, get attention, make people notice you. But I will be able to say once again, Lord, you must increase, I must decrease, and the holy greatness you call me to, the glory, doing the right thing, will come out, because my life will become greatest when I give it to someone like you, someone greater than myself. And I want to leave with your grace this time of prayer with seeking out those little sacrifices, little martyrdoms, asking for the grace that it might be all a matter of love, that you would increase in my life. And Mary, I want your love of you to increase in my life, that as in a motherly way, you will help me to see in the greater moments that the grace will be there. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help for putting them into effect, my Immaculate Mother. Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.